What is going on, everybody? Gosh, it has been a minute. It has been a minute since we've been back here in front of the camera. Almost 2 weeks now. It's been almost 2 weeks since the last time we sat down and did some analysis on Texas football. Big 12 title game, of course. December 2nd? I think it's on December 2nd, something like that. It is now December 15th. 13 days. I know it's been a long time. We've been away, but I just felt like, after 12 weeks, 13 weeks of pumping out straight content week after week, 2, 3, 4 videos a week, I thought it was a good time to just give everybody a little bit of a break. Big 12 titles done. Your Horns are Big 12 champions. They are playoff bound. And man, it still feels great. Even coming back and sitting talking about it now, it feels great. How can you be upset with anything that has gone on this season, right? It feels incredible to be in this position as a Longhorn fan, sitting at 12-1, getting ready to go in to play in the Sugar Bowl January 1st against a team that we get to get our get back on. You know what I'm saying? A team that came in and beat us last year in the Alamo Bowl. We get to get our get back again. Revenge tour continuing. With that being said, in these last 2 weeks, there has been nothing short of chaos going on around college football. When NIL hit the college football scene, I don't think anybody, and I mean anybody, could have anticipated the beast that was being unleashed upon college football. The first week that the transfer portal is open, we had over 1,000 players enter the transfer portal. Over 1,000 players. And we're not just talking about Division II players or Division I FCS players or whatever the case. We're not talking about the little guys. We're talking about big star power. Kyle McCord, Cameron Ward, Dante Moore, Raleigh Brown. Like so many players. Walter Nolan, Matthew Golden. You name a player that is a big time player and damn near almost every single one of them is in the transfer portal. Oklahoma's entire O-line is in the transfer portal. Their quarterback is in the transfer portal. Oklahoma is having to rebuild going into 2024. First season in the SEC, and they're looking to rebuild all of a sudden. It is insane. Absolute pandemonium what is going on in the transfer portal. And while it is terrible news for a lot of teams and a lot of teams are losing some of their main players, for the most part, it's looking like it could end up being excellent work for the Texas Longhorns. But that does not come without some of our own losses. And we'll get to talking about that today. We'll talk transfer portal. We'll be talking recruiting, some big recruitments that have been made recently. We'll be talking All-American awards. And of course, we're going to be breaking down college football playoff time, Texas against Washington. We'll get into that a little bit later on in the video. We have got a jam-packed day today. Sitting here in a rainy, cold, ugly, gloomy Central Austin. It's still a wonderful day to be a Longhorn. Let's get right into it. I'm your host, Antonio. This is the MoBetta Sports Show. Sit down and buckle up. We got a lot coming your way. As we know, the transfer portal is something that is a huge topic around college football. Not only right now, but it has really been a huge topic surrounding college football the entire season. And one of the reasons it's been such a huge topic is just because of all of the transfers that have hit the portal. Like I mentioned earlier, a number of star players hitting the transfer portal, whether it be your starting quarterbacks, whether it be starting O-linemen, defensive players. You name it, everyone is hitting the portal looking for bigger, better, greener pastures, right? Everyone is hoping that the transfer portal is going to lead to greener grasses for them. A lot of these players either didn't get playing time or didn't get as much playing time as they wanted to have, or feel like their talents are being wasted at the school that they're in, so they're trying to go somewhere else and maybe bring a championship or a conference championship to a program or get them to a big bowl game, etc., etc. There's a million different reasons why people enter the transfer portal, right? while Texas looks to be a massive benefactor from the transfer portal, that does not mean that we did not lose some of our very own, some people that we really were looking forward to seeing on the field, some people that we kind of anticipated it may happen, and others that were surprises. So let's go ahead and get right into that. Of course, the biggest storyline, the most heartbreaking, and the most unfortunate, I think, of this entire offseason for the Texas Longhorns as far as transfer portal is concerned, Malik Murphy announcing just a couple days ago that he will be in the transfer portal. And unfortunately, due to the scheduling conflict, right? Due to the way that the NCAA has set up recruitment and scheduling and the way players have to move around and hit the transfer portal, he is not going to be able to participate in the college football playoffs with the Texas Longhorns. So Malik Murphy is transferring out, and yeah, his bags are packed and he's going to be up out of there before he even gets a chance to practice with the team or show up to the Sugar Bowl. So massive loss. I think that if you're a Texas fan, if you've been watching the Longhorns, the writing is on the wall, right? Especially when you saw Arch Manning come in the Texas Tech game, the absolute massive ovation that he got entering the game. You kind of understood this is Arch's team in the future. Whether Quinn comes back or not, Quinn could come back for another season, which at this point is looking very likely, unless he just goes and blows doors off the college football playoff. More than likely, Quinn is going to be back for another season, which would ultimately mean that Malik Murphy probably would have dropped to a QB3 on the depth chart behind Arch Manning. As we know, Arch Manning is being primed to take over for the near future, or for the future Longhorns. So Malik Murphy doing what was best in the interest of his future career, hitting the transfer portal, and at this point, he's already got a ton of offers: USC, Georgia, UCLA. There's several places that have come calling for Malik Murphy. He's a huge arm. He's an extraordinary talent. He is going to go and do great things at a different school. Unfortunately, he is just packed into a QB room that is absolutely littered with talent, and it's only getting deeper. Having players like Trey Owens come in, having players like KJ Lacey down the line, right? But then, of course, Quinn and Arch are the foreseeable starters in the near future. So Malik Murphy out of here. Isaiah Nayor out of here. Not a surprise. He did not see the field literally, I don't think, one single time this entire season. Maybe once, like the very beginning of the season. Pretty much completely forgot Isaiah Nayor was even on the team. Whether that was due to injuries, whether it was just he's not comprehending the playbook, whether he just wasn't really a part of the team, who knows. Could be 100 different reasons. He's gone. Casey Kane, another wide receiver who has been around the Texas program for a few years, made some big-time catches in the game in the Alamo Bowl last year, made some big-time catches all season long last year, as a matter of fact. Unfortunately, again, our room littered with talent, another player that is going to go start somewhere in Casey Kane, couldn't crack the depth chart at Texas, just too much talent in front of him. He is off. B.J. Allen, I believe he was a freshman, as a matter of fact, a freshman safety, somebody that everybody's really looking forward to. Tremendous high school player. Thought that he was going to be an absolute stud on the field. Maybe seeing kind of the writing on the wall with Michael Taft and Derek Williams. Possibly Xavier Filsaime and a couple of other guys that are coming in. Jordan Johnson-Rubel. I know there's a bunch of talent coming in, so maybe he's seeing the writing on the wall, or maybe he's scared of the competition. Not necessarily scared, but doesn't want to have to deal with the competition. He wants to just go somewhere and start right away with no questions asked. Some players are like that, man, so it is what it is. He's gone. Sawyer Gorham-Welch, don't know who that is. Xavion Bryce, freshman cornerback. He saw some playing time in the last couple games. He saw it in the Big 12 championship. He saw some playing time against Texas Tech. He is also out. And the biggest surprise, I think, it is a surprise, but it's not a surprise at the same time. Jalen Catalon. He also entered his name into the transfer portal, so he will not be with Texas for the college football playoff. Also entered his locker room. He is gone. Like I said, a surprise move in my opinion, because while he didn't get any playing time down the stretch, it was mostly because he was injured, right? It had nothing to do with his talent, I don't think. As a matter of fact, when Jalen Catalon was on the field, he brought a certain attitude and a certain viciousness to the defense that I think they really benefited from. It was just that he got injured, and he injured that knee against Oklahoma, out for several weeks, and then really just never got back into the rotation. We saw him a couple of times late in the game against Texas Tech, and maybe we saw him a couple times against Oklahoma State, but for the most part, didn't really see him for the second half of the season. So while it's a surprise because I think that he wasn't getting playing time because of injury, I'm not surprised because he didn't get any playing time. And again, we got a load of talent coming in. So this is going to be his last season. He wants to make the most of it. Maybe he thinks he can make the most of it somewhere else. Jalen Catalon out the door. Nothing but the best of luck to any of these players, especially Malik Murphy. Malik Murphy was instrumental in Texas getting to where they are right now. Without Malik Murphy, Texas is not in the Big 12 championship. Texas is not close, not even close to being in the college football playoff. So as huge of a loss as it is as a fan base, and we love the kid and we appreciate everything that he did for us during the season, he is going to go make a program better. So nothing but the best of luck to all of these players. They all are extraordinary talents, and I'm sure that they are going to shine somewhere else. Now, with that being said, now that we got all of the guys leaving out of the way, who are some of the potential players that Texas is looking at coming in to join this already talent-laden roster? First off, one of the best edge rushers in all of college football is available and in the transfer portal and looking like a very strong possibility to be coming in and committing to Texas. UTSA's edge rusher Trey Moore. If you have not seen this kid play, I'm going to play a couple of clips actually while I'm talking about him, because holy hell, that kid has got an incredible motor. He's got incredible get off. Like, you can tell someone who is just a natural rusher off the line of scrimmage, right? His pass rushing moves are incredible. His ball get off is what is so highly impressive. At the snap of a finger, as soon as that ball is snapped, he is around your tackles. He is through the line of scrimmage. I believe he led the country in sacks with 14 sacks in a 12-game season. That is insane. He would be an almost immediate starter. He'd be an immediate impact player no matter where he goes, but especially here at Texas, where one of the only deficiencies that you can say we had on the defensive line was really at the edge, because we don't have that natural edge rusher. Now, don't get me wrong, we have talented edge rushers, but we don't have natural talented edge rushers. And Trey Moore is huge, big body, 6'4", 250, 245 some odd pounds. Natural instinct off the edge. He would be an immediate impact player. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he's going to be one of the guys crossing that line into the 40 acres. Another one that would be an exceptional get. Not only because he's a homegrown product, right here, Eastside baby, LBJ, Andrew Makuba, transfer from Clemson. Now I believe today he is actually being hosted at Texas. He's taking his official visit to the university today. So not only is that one is almost a shoo-in in the sense that he's a homegrown product, right? He knows Austin. He's from Austin. He's been here. He knows about Texas. He went to Clemson, had a stellar career there. He's been a 3-year starter at Clemson, if I'm not mistaken. 2-year starter maybe. And he's been incredible. One of the best safeties, one of the most reliable tacklers in all of college football. Very smart, very highly intelligent, high football IQ player. Very physical, would be another immediate impact player, right? One of the biggest problems that Texas has at this point in the season is their safety play. Andrew Makuba is an immediate upgrade to any player at that safety position that we have currently, whether it be Derek Williams, whether it be Michael Taft, whether it be Jaron Thompson, which Jaron Thompson is going to be gone anyway. But you get the point. Like, no matter who is going to come line up at safety, Andrew Makuba is an upgrade at that position. So that would be an incredible get. And it's sounding like Texas is really they're kind of at the forefront of picking him up. And of course, you knew that Sark was going to go out with what he did with Adonai Mitchell, getting a talented receiver like Adonai from Georgia in the transfer portal last year. And what Adonai has done to completely revamp this offense and giving Quinn Ewers another massive target. You knew he was going to go out and get another wide receiver in the transfer portal. And he's looking at two of them right now. One of them I'm extremely, extremely excited for. And that is Matthew Golden, the wide receiver out of Houston. If y'all remember me talking about Houston when we played them earlier this season, he was the one person I said, this is a guy we really have got to look out for one of two reasons. Not only is he an explosive playmaker on the field at wide receiver, he's fast, he can take the top off of defense, he runs really good routes, but more than anything, he's an immediate impact player on special teams in the return game. That is where he was really making his money the whole season, punt returning, kick returning. He's an immediate upgrade. Not only is he immediate plug and play at receiver, but 100% would be your starting returner as soon as he touches the 40 acres. That kid is extremely explosive, so talented, extremely talented. Would be a huge upgrade in that wide receiver room. And that's saying a lot considering all the talent that receiver room has as it stands. And then, of course, you got Juice Wells. He's been in contact with Texas. I'm not sure really where the talks have gone with him at this point. I know that he was supposed to be making an official visit. I don't know if he's actually done that yet. But Juice Wells, big body, another big body receiver out of South Carolina. He's not your burner, but like Adonai Mitchell, he's your big play threat down the field. Unlike Adonai, though, he knows how to attack the football in the air. I think that's probably what really separates him. He's got decent route running ability, but what separates him from all the other receivers is his ability to high point and attack the ball at its highest point. He's somebody who, when you throw a 50-50 ball up to him, it becomes a 70-30 ball. It's not really 50-50, right? He's that good at attacking the ball in the air. So that would be another major upgrade at the receiver room, and just somebody to add explosive playmaking ability to a room that is already filled with speed, great route runners, add somebody with a big body and who becomes a red zone threat. I mean, pick your poison, right? Just another way to pick your poison on the offensive side of the ball. That's really all the transfer portal and recruiting news. That's all the transfer portal news that I got for you guys. As far as recruiting is concerned, we just got a huge commitment from 5-star cornerback Kobe Black out of Waco Connolly. One of the biggest recruiting gets for Texas as far as the high school ranks are concerned. So he's originally uncommitted, has been kind of delaying his commitment all season long. But at the end of the day, what Kobe Black said was that he really had been committed to Texas since August. Even though he didn't tell anybody, he left it up in the air. Kobe Black had been a Longhorn in his mind for the last several months. So huge commitment from Kobe Black. Of course, we got another Jared Gibson, the number one running back in the country, shut down his recruiting. He has officially kind of solidified his commitment to the University of Texas. And then, of course, we got players like Trey Owens, Colin Simmons, all of these guys. We'll go and do a breakdown on some of these recruits, some of their highlights, especially some of these higher rated recruits, some of their highlights and just kind of what we can expect for them to bring to the table at Texas as they enroll early. But yeah, so as far as transfer portal, recruiting news, all of that, that's all that I got for you. It was a lot, I know. The most important things to be looking for right now: Matthew Golden, Andrew Makuba, Trey Moore. Those are the three players, three really massive impact players in the transfer portal that can do some huge, huge things at the University of Texas. So we will definitely be keeping our eyes and ears peeled for any more information that comes out about them over the coming days and weeks. Whew! All right. Moving on from portal news and from recruiting news, after the season that the Texas Longhorns have had, after the historic run that they've really had as far as Texas Longhorns are concerned, right? Nothing historic as far as college football is concerned in its entirety, but one of the best Texas Longhorns teams that have ever come across the 40 acres happens to be right this year in 2023. And it is by no surprise there are several Longhorns named to the All-America football team. Most notably, of course, not only is he your Outland Trophy Award winner, the only unanimous All-American in college football, T'Vondre Sweat named to the first team All-American football team as a defensive tackle, and rightfully so. All season long, we have seen this dude make play after play, really save games for the Texas Longhorns, right? Whether it be via Kansas State, whether it's shutting down the run game against Oklahoma State, against TCU, against Iowa State, you name the team that we played, every single game, T'Vondre Sweat was making massive plays. It was inevitable for him to win this award, right? It was inevitable for him to be named an All-American, and I think it was just inevitable for him to win the Outland Trophy. He was that dominant. There's, by far and away, T'Vondre Sweat has been one of the most dominant linemen to ever come through Texas. And I know we had players like Casey Hampton, Corey Redding. You know, we had some really good defensive players. There's been some good ones, Brian Arakpo. But in the interior of the defensive line, T'Vondre Sweat has arguably been one of the best to ever do it on the 40 acres. So congratulations to him. Much deserved. The list does not stop there. He's not the only one. We got his counterpart, his mate in the trenches, the big dog, Murph Dog, defensive tackle Byron Murphy II, being named to second team All-American. He had an excellent season. Just as T'Vondre Sweat was making play after play and impacting games every single week, Byron Murphy was doing just as much. The amount of times you saw Byron Murphy just pile driving through defenders into the backfield was absolutely insane. While T'Vondre Sweat really shored up the run game and made his impact in the pass game, Byron Murphy's pass rush up the middle completely dismantled teams at times this season. He was an extremely massive force on that D-line and cannot be happier for that guy. Byron Murphy, second team All-American. And then next up we got, of course, Speed Demon, the fastest player recorded in college football this season at punt returner, Xavier Worthy, coming in as your second team All-American punt returner. He didn't have a huge season in the receiving game, but I mean, he had a pretty damn good season. He's almost at 1,000 yards. He's like 30 yards shy of 1,000 yards receiving. He had a massive season punt returning. He only had like 2 or 3 punt return touchdowns. Probably could have had like 4 or 5. He had a couple of them called back. Definitely deserving of the All-American award as a punt returner. And then, of course, on the O-line, really one of the best O-linemen that Texas has had. We've had one of our best O-linemen and defensive linemen ever to come across the 40 acres on the same team in the same season. And I'm talking about, big boy, left tackle, Kelvin Banks, coming in, earning himself second team All-American awards. In my opinion, kind of crazy that he didn't win or that he didn't make first team All-American. But we don't vote on these things. These are voted by people who don't watch football again. So it is what it is. So now that's 4 players on Texas' team earning All-American awards. And that's just, first, second team All-American. That's not even to name the freshman All-American in Anthony Hill and in CJ Baxter. Anthony Hill being named the first team All-American. No surprise there. That dude is a fucking monster. You don't even need to say anything about Anthony Hill. You just go watch him on the tape, and every single game, you're like, holy shit, who is this? Holy shit, is that Anthony Hill again? Holy Christ, is that Anthony Hill again? Time and time again, Anthony Hill is making plays all over the field. As a freshman, out there hitting people like he is a grown-ass man. He brings the wood. He does not hold back. Every time he hits you, it is earth-shattering. Makes you shake. No cap. Anthony Hill being named to first team as a freshman All-American. And then after Jonathan Brooks comes down, CJ Baxter comes in, takes over for the rest of the season, has himself a stellar second half of the season, earning himself second team freshman All-American honors. So that is in total 6 players that we have on the All-American team. After the last, again, we can go back not only talking about players, but or not talking about teams, but players individually. When was the last time that Texas had 6 players named on the All-America team? Outside of Bijan, I don't even remember the last time that one of our players made an All-American team. So for us to have 6, it speaks volumes to the development of the players, especially when you consider that T'Vondre Sweat was a 3-star recruit coming out of high school, Byron Murphy a 4-star recruit, Xavier Worthy and Kelvin Banks were obviously 5 stars, but T'Vondre Sweat, the best defensive lineman in the entire country, came into Texas as a 3-star prospect. So that just tells you that your stars don't mean anything. It's all about development, how you take to coaching, and how you implement your training into the game time settings. T'Vondre Sweat is a perfect example of that. So that is great. Like, I love that for the team to have that many players recognized on such a massive scale as something like the All-American team. It's really shining a light on what this Texas football program is becoming. It's becoming a powerhouse, and now we're starting to see everybody wants to come be a Longhorn, man. There's no better time, there's no better place to be when you are winning and you are good. There's no better place to be than right here in Austin, Texas, be at the University of Texas and be a Texas Longhorn, man. Now that we got all of these awards out of the way and all of the non-football stuff really is out of the way, now we can get to talking about some real deal college football coming down the line. Texas versus Washington. I don't know about y'all, man, but the more that I've gone back and I have watched this Washington football team play football, the more excited that I get about this matchup that we have. At first, when we first find out that we're going to be playing Washington, it's like, you know, the players that Washington has. You know Michael Penix Jr., Rome Odunze, you know Jalen McMillan, you know Jalen Polk. You know all these guys, right? You know the explosiveness of that offense and how they just put up points and yards and in bundles and bunches, and it's never ending. And that's immediately your first thought is like, holy shit, Texas is going to have some struggles with this team. But then I go back and I watch their football games, and I watch them play teams like Arizona State, and I watch them play teams like Arizona, and I watch them play teams like even USC is a bad example. Oregon State is a pretty good example. Oregon State, even though that game was in the rain, I watched them play these teams, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, Texas might have a really, really good chance. They might have a really good chance. And that's just upon initial review. Then I get into the deep, nitty-gritty, play-by-play analysis. How are these plays happening? How are these games unfolding? How is Arizona State holding a 40-point-per-game team, a 470-yard-per-game in the air team? How are they holding them to 15 points? How is Arizona, a 3-1 team at the time, a team that nobody knows about, nobody's heard anything about, recruits not very highly recruited, right? How is this team coming in and really giving Washington all they can handle, giving them a run for their money? And I'm looking at this team and I'm like, man, like, one thing that stands out to me is the team is beatable. Michael Penix is terrible, absolutely terrible if he has pressure in his face. And then what makes it even better is I go back and I said, oh, okay, so they played Arizona State. They played Arizona. They've struggled. They played Oregon State. They struggled with that team. Wait, we played them last year. We played them in a dome, too. And we played them not at full strength. We didn't have all of our players. We didn't have our running game. We didn't have a lot of our starters in the secondary. And we held that team to 27 points. And not only did we hold that team to 27 points, but Michael Penix was 14 of 31 for 136 yards, for 136 passing yards and an interception in the first half. So what happened? How did we lose that game? Oh, then when you see, well, we couldn't stop the run. They had 160 yards rushing on us in the Alamo Bowl. Texas got one of the best rush defenses in the entire country this season. So not only do they have a multitude of returning starters that played in that game last year, they've only gotten better since the last time they played in that game last year. Not only has the defense gotten better, the offense has gotten light years better. Well, can you say the same about Washington? Well, the offense has gotten better for sure. You know, this is another year in that system. Kellen DeBoer is an excellent offensive coordinator. Yeah, of course they've gotten better offensively. But have they gotten that much better? Have they gotten better defensively? Man, you're hard-pressed to say that they've gotten better defensively. One thing that I know for 100% fact is that when you go back and you look at these games in a cumulative form, there is a common recipe to how Washington gets, they haven't been beat, obviously, but how they get into tight games. And they're not playing the best of talent, right? Now, granted, Oregon, great team, right? Oregon is a great team. They don't have the best secondary. As a matter of fact, they really struggle on the secondary. They have a decent front seven, but Washington ran and threw the ball all over them. Defense ain't that good. They're not Texas good, right? The point I'm trying to make is the more I go back and watch these games, the more I'm like, man, I think we almost got not a shoe-in, but if we play disciplined football and we play football the way we've been playing for the last half of the season, I mean, this game could really get ugly. And y'all know what happens. The last few times I done told y'all, games could get ugly. What happened? Texas Tech, 57-7. Oklahoma State, 49-21. I'm seeing similar things from this Washington defense that is raising red flags to me that says, damn, the Texas offense is averaging 476 yards per game this season. That's 9th in the country. They're averaging 287 yards in the air. They're averaging 190 yards on the ground. And that's after Jonathan Brooks has been out for several weeks. We've seen more explosive plays in the run game almost in the last few weeks than we did when Jonathan Brooks was the sole running back, right? Jaden Blue getting in the mix. Keelan Robinson getting in the mix. CJ Baxter having big games. Trey Wisner, Savion Red. All these running backs are adding value to the run game. And then not only that, but we're scoring 36 points a game. Well, how does that match up? What is surely an undefeated 13-0 Washington team? Their defense has got to be keeping them in games, right? Well, their defense is allowing 397 yards per game. That's something like 90th in the country. They're allowing 263 passing yards per game. They're allowing 134 yards rushing per game. Middle of the pack, lower pack. That's what I'm trying to say. And they're giving up over 23 points a game. That, my friends, in my opinion, that smells like a disaster waiting to happen. When you got this Texas team coming off two of the best games they've had all season long, two of the most complete games they had all season long in their Big 12 championship game, and then in the game to get them into the Big 12 championship. Meanwhile, Washington is coming off 4-5 straight 2 to 3 point victories. Man, can Washington sustain? Can they hold on? They've been escaping week after week after week, and they have yet to put on a completely dominant performance. They haven't done it yet. The closest you can say is against somebody like maybe Cal, where they put up 59 points, but they allowed 32. USC, where they put up 52 points, but they allow 42. This Texas team has got a real opportunity to go in and blow doors off this Washington football team and mark themselves squarely in the running to be national champions. I look at this team, and while I know that Washington has got an incredible offense, they have a spectacular scheme. Much like Steve Sarkisian, Kellen DeBoer is a big play fanatic. He is a offensive guru. He spreads the field. His play designs are incredible. They're unlike anything that anybody's seen. Steve is the exact same way. As a matter of fact, they are extremely comparable in the way that they play offense, in the way that they scheme their offenses. Now, they have different styles in the sense that Kellen DeBoer loves to throw the ball. And not saying that Steve doesn't love to throw the ball. He does. But he is, at least this season, has been much more emphatic on getting the run game established. Now we're running the ball to open up the pass game, whereas previously we were passing the ball to open up the run game. Kellen DeBoer is a pass the ball to open up the run game and pass the ball some more if the run game's not open type of person. That's the type of offense they are, right? So we know that both of the offenses are going to be explosive. What is the one distinguishing factor on these two teams? And it's the defenses. And let me tell you, Texas's defense is miles better than that Washington defense. It's not even close. And that's not to say that Washington does not have some playmakers on the defense, right? You got players like Dominique Hampton, who is their leading tackler at corner. Your leading cornerback is your leading tackler is your cornerback with 92 tackles on the season, 2 interceptions and 5 passes deflected. That's insane. The fact that your linebackers your safeties ain't the leading tacklers, it's your cornerback is actually crazy. Then you have another very talented cornerback and kinfolk of Malik Muhammad. You got Jabbar Muhammad playing opposite Dominique Hampton, who comes into the game with 42 total tackles, 3 interceptions, 10 passes deflected, and a fumble recovery. So he's a baller, right? Don't get me wrong. That bloodline there, those two cats can play some football. They're both ballers. Then you got your defense on the defensive line. You got Braylon Trice. He's got 5 sacks on the year. You know, he's a talented player, but nothing crazy. Nothing that Kelvin Banks and Christian Jones can't handle. Mishael Powell at safety comes in with 3 interceptions and 38 total tackles. These are the players that you have to look out for. But listen to those numbers, right? What is that doing for you? That's not jumping off the screen. You ain't like, damn. That's a lockdown defense. It sound like. Hell no, it ain't. It ain't no lockdown defense. And you're giving Steve Sarkisian an entire month to prepare for this defense? Now listen, I know Kellen DeBoer is a great head coach. He's a great offensive coordinator. Steve Sarkisian might be better. And Steve Sarkisian 100% has a better defense. And don't forget, Coach K is very, very familiar with that Washington scheme. Comes from it. He was a Washington defensive coordinator for a long time. He knows that area. He knows those players. He knows how they like to move the football. And in that Alamo Bowl last year, he did an excellent, excellent job scheming against Michael Penix. And Michael Penix had these receivers, minus Jalen Polk, I believe. Jalen McMillan was in that game. Roma Dunze was in that game. So it's not like it's just Texas has never seen these guys before. No, Texas has seen them before, and they played very well against them. And we have upgraded the defense since then. Argue with me if you want to, man. I think that this Texas team is the scariest team in this playoff. This is the team that nobody wants to see. Because at the end of the day, this is the most balanced team. This is the most complete football team. And we'll get into a real deep breakdown, right? We'll go by the numbers. We're going to look at Texas offensively against that Washington defense. We'll go ahead and we'll be taking a look at the schemes, how they match up, and vice versa. We'll be taking a look at Washington's offense and how they match up against Texas defense. But let me just tell you, from what I have seen from this Washington team, Texas has a great chance to walk out of the Sugar Bowl with a W and put themselves in national championship contention, man. They got 2 games left. 2 games left. I think they can get it done. I really do. I've never been so optimistic about a playoff run than I am right now. All we got to do, get by Washington, and I think we're going to see Bama again. Because to be 100% honest with you, if the team that we end up seeing is Michigan, we're going to be national champions. If the team that we end up seeing is Alabama, we're going to have a game on our hands because you know how Nick Saban is, man. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but that's what we're looking at, right? We're going to go ahead and we'll be breaking all of that down in the next couple videos to come this week. We have still, 2 weeks until this game? So we're going to have a lot of time to get really in depth and really break things down and crunch some numbers. I'm excited. Feels good to be talking some Texas football again. It feels good that we've only got 2 more weeks until all of this layover is over with and we can finally watch some college football again. I know that we're going to have some bowl games scattered throughout these next couple of weeks and they'll be good, but we all know what we want to see, man. We don't want to see some of these bowl games. We want to see Texas. We want to see Washington, and I cannot wait. But all right, man, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys get up out of here. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and do me a favor. Smack that subscribe button. Leave me some comments. Tell me what y'all guys' thoughts are on the transfer portal. Who do y'all want Texas to see bring in? Who are some of the main staples that you guys think could really make an impact with this Texas football team? And give me your thoughts on what you have seen from Washington. If you've watched any of their games, what are your thoughts on, the All-American awards, all that kind of stuff, man? Let me hear it. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what y'all guys' thoughts are on this Texas football team, because we know how I feel, man. This is a beautiful time to be a Longhorn fan. It's an amazing time, and it's only getting better. Leave me some comments. Smack a like on the video. Smack the like, man. It takes 2 seconds. Gets the word spread out to the college football universe. Gets the word spread out to the YouTube universe. And of course, go ahead and smack that notification bell so you never miss anything we got coming for you. Because remember, no matter where you look, there's no better place than MoBetta Sports for your latest football takes. I am your host, Antonio, aka Mr.MoBetta, and I am out. Peace and hook 'em. Lego.